Hello. 3, 2, 1, and hello, everybody. Yeah, I'm way later than I expected it to be. I thought I would be like 2 hours earlier, and then we could do a little bit longer, like Pokemon or Grand Blue. But like we have like an hour and a half. So yeah. Doesn't work. I feel like 1.5 hours of gaming is like I start a game, I play like 3 rounds of Grand Blue, and then I head off. So I thought writing was better. But before we start, which is why I say an hour and a half maybe. Bit quieter, like slightly quieter. Okay, this is a little bit better because for me it's very loud. I will quickly do the schedule for next week. Because it is important to me that we have the schedule up. So we're quickly doing the schedule and then we start properly. Hello, Femboyish Twink VTuber. That is a very weird thing to say, but yeah, I'm doing fine. Hi. So next week, I don't have any Pathfinder sessions. So this will be like a little bit more streaming. I volunteer for the new word Femunk? What is Femunk? Because I'm old but still a femme, or what? So I will quickly doing like the streaming schedule. So the schedule I have planned would be I will post it in just a second. We have a Monday, we have a writing stream. Tuesday, we have a writing stream. Wednesday, we have a gaming stream. Somehow my keyboard just stopped working. Okay, gaming stream. Friday, we do probably I'd say placeholder depending on what we are doing. And then probably we do maybe Saturday. I play like 1 or 2 rounds more and it worked a little bit better with her. Hinduzilla is just better when I, of course, don't stream because I don't talk that much. Of course, you play worse when you need to like talk and stuff, but yeah. Placeholder. So, times are the same as always. But we have like Monday, Tuesday, Wednesday, Friday, Saturday. We have like 3 stream days next week. 5 stream days. Sorry, I cannot count. 5 stream days next week. The 2 placeholder days are maybe ones that could not happen, which is why we say 2 placeholder. But I will address that on Wednesday or Thursday at last. The Avatar: The Last Airbender game. Probably not, no. It looks brilliant. Like, it looks like... But I've never heard of that studio, and the animations are, like, a little bit worse, but, like... fucking incredible regardless than, like, what Arxis does. Like, it's, like, very good animation-wise. It's incredible how good, like, how fluid the animation quality of moves are in this game. Which is crazy, but yeah, I'm not getting it probably. I don't know. So, let's get into a little bit more writing. Again, we're doing like an hour and a half. The monk apparently does streaming stuff. Because we only have an hour and a half, we are not getting like one of these done. Which is why we could like do anything. We're like open for everything. We can write out some keywords. We can make something a little bit more like a flowing text again. I don't want to bore you with like cleanup work. I'm not going into the orcs and now do like all the cleanup. We do that at some other point. Because for like a stream this short, it doesn't matter. We could do lore, we could do religions, we could do actually one of the metropolises. We could go into one and decide how they look or what they are. There's like a lot we can do. So yeah, what do we want to do? Do we want to do another write-up of a species? Do we want to go through the 4 points like Orcish Uprising, Heritage War, Aetherflood, War of Unity now? Well, that's 5 points, but yeah. I only had the Vanara open because I was working on them today a little bit, like, and reading up their feats actually, which is like kind of crazy. You know what? I have an idea. For today's stream, first of all, I need to add the pictures to the Strix at some point. Let us... Let's go into religions quickly. We have a lot of changeling stuff, right? We have the patron deities. We could write 1 or 2 patron deities, maybe. Or like at least important ones. Or we could go in another religion. Do we write Vanara? I need way too long to decide. Just throw something at me. There's no twerking on. We could also do a faction and like start filling out like factions, sub-factions. I mean, we have Haven written, right? At least like a little bit, but you said throw something at me, so I did. Yeah, I'm happy that you did. I just say there will be no twerking on. Just throw something else at me. I'm taking anything right now. And then I will either say yes or no. We could also go into tech. You know what? 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6. I throw D8. We have 8 spaces that we can do, so I'm throwing a D8. Give me 1 second. Generate a random number. Okay. I've rolled a 5, so we are going to do something funny today. We are talking about tech. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. Let's do tech talk. So, technology. Let's do the thing that we should have like done also earlier for like the setting itself. Not a link. No. I want to have a slash page. So, Aether technology in general. I think we should talk about this at some point. Fits very much with Armored Core music in the background. A little bit techy. So, how does it work? To understand how it works. Exactly. that would be the next thing. Let's do pre-Aether tech. Let's start with this maybe first. Pre-Aether tech. So I would think along the tech tree that they actually got kind of far and then abandoned it for a better energy source once the dwarves got like their shit sorted out, right? So what I mean by this is they of course had like sailing. They had they understood like how basic mechanics work, like very rudimentary mechanics, right? Like pulleys and stuff like that. They were shoveling. They were like very early steam tech. That's what I wanted to say. They had like very early steam tech. Like they did not like do it in like grand engines. I feel like I think that came through the Aether research because it was just like the more practical thing to use because it was everywhere, right? And they use it definitely. They did not have fossil fuels, so. They had definitely discovered gunpowder. I think rather that, because then we get into the problem, why did they never get into the mirror belt, right? Again, we know that the mirror belt is a bit like protected by the gods. We implied that, but they like when they use like basically natural resources to get there. Why did none other work, right? But on Aziko, it is sparse. I think that, and they on the cusp of understanding basic clockwork tech, automation maybe. I think that is like the thing. They just abandoned all of this. Like they abandoned these, like the resource to craft gunpowder was right. Gunpowder. I mean, they knew much about Aether tech, right? But I think I have a feeling when we say gunpowder is sparse on Aziko, right? I stick with that. Or resources for gunpowder are sparse on Aziko. Let's say it like this: resources for gunpowder were are sparse on Aziko because the halflings used the already rare materials up. I think that's that's what I would go with it. With that they like literally like it's already hard to get gunpowder or produce gunpowder on Eziko, and the halflings just like double down into that, right? I think they should be like on the cusp of understanding clockwork automation, because it goes into what the how they enhanced on the design of clockworks with the Aether core, right? They understood aviation enough to produce balloons, hot air balloons, right? Yeah. But physical engines were replaced by Aether. Physical cores, right? They understood in aviation to have hot air balloons. I think that goes very much into like the first airships. I have a drawing of an airship, but it is at work. I actually have like, I did like a blueprint for like one of the airships, how I imagine them to look. Like a type of airship, not like all of them, right? So they understood, they understand hot air balloons. What else is very important? What else is very important? Tech-wise. So we know that they have like a small amount of like, for example, flintlocks and stuff like that, right? And cannons, because gunpowder, again, rare. But they have that. Quality of life. Another good question. That goes a little bit more into we'll go more into like law. We need to sort this by big pages at some point. Page 3 blood societies. Let's go into this quickly. So I think because they have like umpteenth hundred wars because of the orcs, right? Let's go into the good old timeline, baby. So after this, they're like 300 years, right? And I think they should have like gone to the point of like, okay, music, get a little bit quieter, please. Okay, I think society got to the point where like they had like quality of life. I think they have it like moderate, right? Where it's like medicine was available. Not many people had funds. Societies built build with a T because it's past. Societies built, basically they build around well, not survival, but like improving POL, right? And then you have like basically education was somewhat available, right? Not everyone was like, oh, I'm going to school, right? Available. Not everyone goes to school, but many people go to school, or some people go to school. Food and drink was not an issue for most societies. I think it's like very much like we are going at that point into like the Renaissance age, where it's like everyone is focused around anything else but survival, and like advancements are what is the new hot shit at the moment, right? Which is why they absolutely would go into, which is why they had like the tech they had at that point. Did I miss anything? Did I miss like something very important to technology? We have work, we have weaponry, we have sailing, aviation, we have also I think for the time being this is enough, except if you come up with something else still. Like with a very, very important point that I forget, obviously. And then we go to Aether technology. How does this differ from anything else? So, food production. The question is, at that point, after like the Heritage War, right? Which is like probably the point. The question is, aren't they agriculture? The question is, with how many people we made into like, oh yeah, they went to like a nature magic route. Do they need to actually farm? Like, do they actually do like big agriculture, or do they just use magic? I mean, it is what they do after the flood, right? Because there's no place for agriculture. Yeah, I think there should be like a very big shift post-flood, right? Yeah, I think so. I think because it's a Pathfinder setting especially, you need a spellcaster in basically every settlement. But that is post-flood. That is post-flood. Pre-flood, we have like some societies that are like completely magic is the thing. But they're like usually the ones that are not nature. Let me think. I think there should be a shift, so let's make them agricultural. I think they do not have like big ways of preserving food, right? I'm thinking, do they have that? Probably not, right? Yeah, I think with alchemy and stuff like that, ways to preserve food or alchemy. In what regards? I mean, like, most people in high fantasy do, like, eat the same shit we do, right? I mean, like, like, an egg is an egg, usually, right? But, we can go into that a little bit. Oh, yeah, that is, like, the thing, yeah. Which is why I do not like it when you have, like, a normal setting. Like, normal in the regard of, like, Pathfinder normal, right? Yeah, then you never have like problems with this, right? Like you need to also remember that like many like I know that like famines and stuff like that exist, and it was not uncommon to have like bad winters where like villages were like nearly dying out. But like, except for winter, like food became was an issue that was like a lesser thing compared to like sickness. Because like once everyone got agricultural, they like started trade, and with trade, you had like usually like some kind of like nourishment on the table, even if it was shit. Except if you're like in like a war-torn like area, right? Like England in its worst times, right? That's like one of the things I'm thinking about. But yeah, agricultural pre-food. The only ways to preserve were alchemy, or if you had one priest or a druid. But yeah, I don't want to go too much into like the food thing, because that's the thing why the metropolises still work, right? It's like, yeah, you like many of the spellcasters get like delegated produce nourishment duty. I think we said that at the very like early stages of the setting. We're still at the early stages, by the way, but like at the earlier stages, in the baby steps. Aether technology. So how does it work? Requires liquid aether as a form of power supply. Through tubes and wires. Power is sent to mechanical parts because Aether is inherently magic. That is something I would love to talk about, because I feel like with the setting they have, I think what they do is they actually gather the liquid aether, making the people on the planet's surface also very like important, just so like they can gather the shit. I think I imagine it like a giant ass like where they just like pick a little bit, and it's like super dangerous, and then they need to dilute it a little bit. So it's like, for example, if you have like a gun, I thought about the Aetherflood log, right? So how this works would be, you have like the same still example. You have like same old flintlock, but the hammer does not light the gunpowder. It makes the Aether react in a small controlled burst. Exploding outwards. Basically, I feel like what happens is you do like a magical reaction or like something, where like the trigger basically simulates the hammer, simulates something like a small spell, something magical, like a tiny ritual that you're doing, just like for like a split second. That makes the Aether react similar to the hand project, right? To like the hand, just like throw like something magical on this, or maybe the hammer's magical, and that makes the Aether react, and that makes it like quote unquote explode outwards, right? Use it up, and the magical field shoots the bullet, right? Yeah. Or compression. That's like how I imagine it to work, right? Basically, you're like creating a small Aether reaction, which has enough power to like propel a bullet. Yeah, that's a good idea. That's better. I was like, there's like two options where you like go the magic route and say, okay, you're basically performing a miniature ritual of like an explosion rune or something like that, which shoots the bullet outward, where like the magic of the Aether just like zaps a small spell into the chamber, detonating it and just shooting the kugel out. But I like the fully mechanical way better. Keeps it like a little bit like it keeps the magic part of the Magitech still in, but yeah, it's rewrite. Makes also sense because like we have like now Aether in the gun, right? And how this works is gun has a pre-built in. Is it built in like this? Aether battery. Which dispenses the Aether into the chamber. Yeah, there's the pre, right? Built in, right? Yeah, I just wanted to say, like, it's like you need to put it in first. Like, I want to, like, it is like you need to switch it at some point. This battery needs to be switched out once it dries up. Like, I imagine, like, many flintlock pistols have, like, the metal handle, right? Like, the metal and wood handle. And I feel like pretty much like a D battery, right? You just spin it open and they have, like, the little Aether cell there. And it's, like, enough, of course, for, like, a prolonged conflict to last. But it's, like, not something you're, like... Exactly. I feel like at some point your Aether is just empty. And you just, like, put it in again. So you have, like, basically it makes the reload of the gunslinger actually make more sense than it does in Pathfinder. Where in Pathfinder, it's like one action where you, like, basically you put a bullet in and somehow, like, you never need to, like, refill, like, the gunpowder. It just works over and over and over again. But yeah, doesn't matter. I'm not like... It's gameplay mechanics. Doesn't matter. But yeah, because magic. It's your magic. You item magically attuned items or parts react towards it. Some heat up, some move. And some reacts violently. There's like everything, basically electronics, right? But like put into like magic words, mumbo jumbo. Most tech works with so-called Aether batteries, which are a small container of thinned Aether that has less power but causes produces limited amounts of power as well, to not overcharge an item. Basically, like it's basically like your power supply, right? You have like what a battery is. You don't put like I don't know, a little hand fan, like an electric hand fan, to like 230 volts, and that's what this is. Just like we need to talk about how you can thin Aether. But yeah, it also makes it so that like if you just like destroy a small container of like thinned Aether of like a battery, right, that you don't instantly die. I think that's like the most important thing, that you do not like Yeah. Thin Aether does is a lot less lethal than normal one than normal ether. Jesus Christ. But it is still dangerous, still volatile enough to hurt someone on reaction. Not careful. Like, I think about like a campaign thing, right? Like the detonating barrel, basically, right? I can see like in a distillery where it's like, oh yeah, we need to, where there's like barrels of thin aether that gets like poured into like those batteries. If you blow those up, they hurt, but like, and I think those react stronger. But like, if you have like a normal battery, yeah, that hurts. Like you can lose like your hand or a finger. Like they can detonate like a grenade from an alchemist. But basically, they're not like, oh yeah, you get instant AIDS, turn into a flesh swamp and die. I think that would be the dwarves, right? Because we have never... Well, Project Aether is started by the gnomes and goblins, right? Then it would be like... Yeah, that's true. Then it's gnomes and goblins. When they start the project, they should... because this is where it's like, oh yeah, we have like absolutely... because this is where they start like doing Aether on the big scale, which is after the Heritage War. We can move stuff into the Heritage War, but I don't think... I think Heritage War, because the orcs are such big suckers... I think well, they needed to do Aether during the war at least, because that's why they needed the goblins and the gnomes. 1 second. Project Aether could be like the refinement of this, right? Yeah. This is like... This is like Aether refinement. And then we say... I think we put them here and say... Do we say... 380... BAF, and then we say something like first Aether tag developed, very experimental, very dangerous. Because then we have like the Aether tech, right? We have like it has 80 years in the Heritage War where like everyone fucks each other up, and then they just like refine it, or they don't do much with it. They're doing like the other shit on the side, and then like 100 years after, like everyone has like time to reform, build their own societies again, right? Goblins and gnomes free. They start like Aether refinement project. Then they do 50 years of this, and they do the first Aether ships. Then we had the Mirabelle thing, and then we had the first Aether Railway. Was very unrefined, giving users long-term ailments more often than not, ending in death, making non Aether weaponry and magic the preferred choice of combat. Pretty much like how like the first like match logs and stuff like that, right, were there, but they were like not the thing that usually kills everyone. What can we also say? Airships and railways use pure Aether due to the because of its pure power, its power output. Railways and bigger airships are powered by pure Aether. Most, well, crews no. Many mechanics do not stay in the line of work for long when hired on such a vehicle. When employed. Because of the side effects. I think that should be like another point, right? Where it's like the inertia could be like, but then the problem is we should not do this because then we get into like all of the smaller air vehicles, etc. And what happens if your gunslinger is on an airship, and what happens if right? We go into like many what ifs that I think we do not want to open up. I feel like Just thinking about it. Yeah. You're just spitballing. Absolutely fine. I'm just thinking. I'm just like thinking about that right now. Absolutely fine. Because otherwise, I'm just imagining a session, right? You're in the session. We're trying to make this setting fit Pathfinder rules. So, for the most part, right? For like 95, 99%. Let's say 98%, right? So, if you're on a train and the train moves and you have a gunslinger, your gunslinger could potentially explode. Is that a good idea? Then again, they could be like, when we say, yeah, but the batteries are just like, the batteries just like keep them safe from detonating. Why aren't the trains using those, right? Let's keep them at the moment. Like, let's keep that idea on the back burner, but I think it should be power output. I think the trains and the airships should still be dangerous. If someone blows up your Aether core, you're fucking dead regardless. Ideally, you hit the ground and don't realize what happened. Or you get like Aether sludged and then you die. Yeah, I'm thinking about exhaust right now. That's a very good point. So, if we think about it, right? If the... I mean, the Aether needs to exhaust something. It could also just, like, burn up and be clean energy, but we don't want to make it, like, this easy, right? I think the Strix that live on, like outside of society and are pissed about the people in the metropolises, they should have a valid point with this. We could do chemtrail memes, but... Thinking about it. Or does it radiate? Does it do like radiation? Basically, where it's like spreading and then it thins out enough so it doesn't matter anymore. So basically you have like your trail of like the Arcanum solution. What is the Arcanum solution? Yeah, because they are radiating Aether as well, right? Which is why you need like physical, like... Let's do it like this. Aether. Reactions on the scale of larger vehicles cause higher cause a produce. Sorry, today I don't know why. I was like so excited for this, and now I'm like struggling again. Aether reactions on a scale of larger vehicles produce exorbitant amounts of aether particles, which get exhausted. Exhausted? Is that a word? Exhausted, like in terms of like putting it out, probably, right? Push. Expels. Jesus Christ. Or emitted into the air through the vehicle's exhaustion. The particles disperse in the air and slowly spread. Oh Jesus Christ, spread. This is a huge issue for those who live near airship routes. Since the particles since unused or since leftover particles in the air can cause side effects, physical side effects. And now we get to the mages, because I like the idea as well. Since the pure aether is so volatile, many spellcasters are not allowed near these well, these batteries. To minimize risk of reaction. I think this is like what we are doing, right? By their... Thank you. Yeah. By the spellcaster's own Aether. I think that the spellcaster is usually not allowed in an engine room where a battery is installed. Makes also like very nice plot hooks of like people like just saying, okay, I'm holding the ship hostage, because otherwise Steve the Wizard is running in there and just casts a spell because he's funny. Just running in there, casting a hydraulic push onto the Aether container. Yeah, this gives us a lot of kobold lore. Because now we have like the reason why like when that many kobolds just like expel their mages, right? When like a kobold is just a spellcaster, they get like sent away. Oh, what were you going for? Just like out of like, if I know if you thought the same or something else. But wouldn't that not like, with how we wrote them, I'm just thinking about this. Would this not just like fuck with how we wrote them because they're attracted to Aether? And basically we said like that they're eggs enriched by Aether. They're like basically like Aether absorption machines. I mean, we could do this. I have an idea. Yeah, I have a better idea. Look. We optimize this. Yeah, exactly. Let's do like this. I would absolutely like agree with this. I like the idea of this. How about we say because then we can say Because then we can say... Exactly, they're like the horn kobolds. Because I was thinking like maybe the surface kobolds, because the city kobolds are just like fucking around with like the refined aether. The surface kobolds who are like still around in like a basically like with like a lot of aether, but not as much as like the city ones. That the surface ones tend to be like more magically inclined or like normally inclined in terms of magic. And then we can keep the city kobolds unmagical because refined aether burns out the magic potential in the eggs. Right? I like yeah. This is like a very good idea. Let's go into this. Okay, and because city kobolds lack the ability to generate their own aether, the eggs die once removed from the engine rooms. Yeah, very good. Now everything clicks into place. Now this is what I like. This is what I like. Yeah, I think this is starting to. Ability to generate their own aether. Eggs die once they are removed from the engine rooms. Dude, everyone is so fucked up living wise, dude. I like it. We made them like actually like what I said from the get-go. There needs to be a reason why they all need to live like together on these spaces. And I feel like they fucked themselves into a corner so hard that they just cannot live without the other guys. Because every society without the other would collapse. The orcs just start fucking with their own problem, with their old problems again because they cannot keep a one-track mind and just do the shit they're good at. The dwarves just like don't care about anything except for building. The kobolds just fuck themselves over because they made themselves impotent while they lived on like a metropolis. Let's go back into the Aether deck. Take. Are they pigeon folk? By the way, I like them that they go gur. Yeah, let's stick to the tech. Sorry. We don't have much time left. You're right. Tomorrow is another writing stream, but we're doing like, let's stick to tech. This Aether is very constant in its flow and not as fluctuating as its natural counterpart, making the tech work more consistently. And well, Aether can and in some cases will malfunction once if exposed to too much natural Aether. Basically like how an EMP works, right? Like electromagnetic pulses. Where like the magnetic field of something can like fuck with your electronics. Very big and very real problem in real life, by the way. Always. Well, not nowadays anymore because we solved the issue. We found out that like most things, if you ground them, the ground will just like disperse the magnetic charge very much. What are you sending me? Oh, wild magic rules. Okay. Yeah, we need to wait for the remaster. I think they get like... Wasn't it possible to lance a remaster book already? No, it was not. But yeah, we need to see what like if the new I think I saw something that like some wild magic shenanigans gets remastered, but we can use this. Is this understandable enough to say, okay, this is it? We don't need to go like too much further into it for the time being. Basically, you have like your supplies. Well, we should go into like how it's harvested, right? I think that's like one of the more dangerous jobs. No. I think what they do is since yeah, that is true. Many cities have found groups of people who are harvesting surface Aether, who are risking their lives for the need of the many. Of course, it is very implied here that there's like poor sods that will be like forced to do it. They need to go down there, get like their their anti-radiation suits that work like moderate at best and need to harvest the shit, put it in containers and get it back. Many of the some civilizations decided, right for shit today, man, decided to harvest the small amounts of Aether people inherently carry. Which makes the humans very uninteresting, right? Because humans are inherently non-Aether carriers. They like, you don't have human sorcerers, right? We should also write that into the humans, by the way. Did we do that? I just realized this before we forget it. No wizard, no sorcerers. Yeah, we have that. All right. It's funny because, like, you would think that the automatons are the ones that do this, right? But they're the Aether core, so they cannot. Humans were about, like, basically, hey, they came from a dead world, they went over and met the Saint, and after that they got to Eziko and learned, like, stuff after the Heritage War, basically. And yeah. That is also very true. We should also go into Aethertech and talk about automatons, right? Let's like this. Let's start with this. Automatons are an advanced form of Aethertech. They are perpetual motion machines that work without the influence of external Aether sources. Their Aether cores supply them with enough yeah. With enough energy, but they need to fuse their cores from time to time to stop their decay and refresh them with new power. Many put the dwarves under a huge pressure to redo this experiment on a larger scale. It has yet to be officially done successfully. And then we go into the next line and we say earmark sentient city reactor. Cities could reproduce the automaton Aether refreshment, but nobody wants to risk well, first 3 metropolises could reproduce the automaton Aether refreshment, but nobody wants to risk plummeting the 3 cities to the surface if this experiment fails. That is why I am actually, that's like the one reason we made them so much necromancer, by the way, which is like dude, what do I write? Do I have a stroke? And by the modern day, we're doing this, and then we reanimate, dude. No, reanimate. What? Reanimate. This is the only reason why I'm doing this right now, because this is like probably the last thing I'm doing today. I think this is like very, very thorough already, just to understand how the Aether works. Basically batteries, right? We just like have written a thing about magic electricity, which is basically how like most punk settings work, right? Just like through like energy source, produce energy. We should also talk about that there's like Aether gets used to power light sources and some appliances like clocks. I think we should just like talk about like, oh yeah, it's like that's how torches work. Like the normal torch is something you use more rarely. Basically you have a mechanical torch, right? Gameplay wise, and this one is just like a flashlight, something. We go one thing we're doing. I've been thinking, because of our discussion on Friday that started out of fucking nowhere. That is a very good idea. aether particles. That are the natural waste product refinement to like this. What I'm doing, because of our discussion on Friday, I don't understand why we had that all of a sudden. It just exploded all of a sudden. I'm actually thinking of putting these back in. I think there were many points that were valid. But especially in Remedy, having like your leftover best skeleton would be a thing you could like potentially like see being played. You know, the one that got sentience. So what I'm doing is yeah, I agree. I mean, I think that was the point that was missed in the discussion, right? But I would put them in maybe. That's the only point where I put them. I'm not 100% sure if I'm sold on it or not, but I was thinking about this because Remedy is like so undead, right? That I think that it's kind of possible that it could happen that someone frees himself and does this stuff. But what we are doing, because again, this was a short one. Tomorrow we are doing more. Tomorrow we are doing a normal stream at the normal time, and we're doing more other stuff. I wanted to do a longer stream today, but I could not do it because I just came home basically. But all of this needs to be still like put into words and stuff like that. I would love to like start just like so you have like an idea where we're going this week, which is why we are doing like this many writing streams. I want to get in onto these. I want to get the flesh warps. So tomorrow I would love to do the story of the flesh warps and start those, and we go a bit more into detail because we have like basically two types of flesh warps. One who are like under the changeling, and the ones nowadays who are like probably still under the changeling or not, and maybe like do like a little bit of a doomsday cult. So I would the homework would be think about how the flesh warps would fit in this setting, like perfectly, except for like, oh, they were like the changeling skies, right? But like, how does a modern flesh warp look? And then we meet each other in round about 21 hours. No. 20 hours, right? 4 hours from now. Yeah, around about like 20 to 21 hours. And then we write about the flesh warps. That would be the thing I would do. I'm starting tomorrow during like the day to like make some like notes, how I imagine them. And then we just spitball them back and forth. I think that is like the best way we do it. Because that was very productive with like everyone else. Like the Nagashi, we got like a lot of stuff here, right? Like, and like always, for them it should be like, of course, for the flesh warps, it should be the things we should cover, just to know what we want them to be about, is like war with the halflings. And then we have then we of course have like during the Heritage War. Then after that, after the Heritage War, the next question would be, okay, like, were they just like chilling? Were they planning something, right? War of Unity is like very big. Darkened Age is like absolutely huge because now they are the enemy. And then we have like Modern Times. And we have like Aetherflood. I forget the Aetherflood all the time. Even though that's the setting name. Oops. I think these we should like detail very, very nicely. But yeah. Regardless, I will head off. And we will see each other tomorrow. Yeah, I'm going to bed. I wish you a good night. Have a good evening. And tomorrow we do a normal stream. See you around. Thank you for like writing again. Very cool. And we'll see each other. Bye-bye.